How to handle an I don't know pupil. Are you struggling with pupils who constantly respond with I don't know? You ask a question, and before you've even finished the question, you can see the automatic response being prepared, I don't know. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to shift from the culture of I don't know to a culture that encourages the pupil to take a part in their own learning, think for themselves, respond, and ultimately learn faster. So what's the real issue here? Well, sometimes people say I don't know because they genuinely don't know. And that's fair. But sometimes it's habitual, and sometimes they're saying it automatically because that's the culture we've allowed in the car. They're scared of getting it wrong, or they've learned that saying I don't know gets them off the hook. So let's break that cycle, and here's how. I'm going to list a few steps that you can follow to tackling an I don't know pupil, and I promise you that if you follow these steps, you will see an improvement across the board. So step one is about creating a culture from lesson one. We have to set the tone from the very first lesson that the culture is going to involve both parties to contribute to thought and ideas, and to talk, and to ask questions, and to think about answers. On a pupil's first ever lesson, I will have conversations with them where I talk about my style of teaching, and I will ask them about their style of learning. I will manage expectations right from the off, where I talk about I'm going to be asking you questions, and I'm going to request that you contribute with ideas and thoughts and explanations so that I can get inside your head better, and then I can help you come to the solutions and offer ideas that are more appropriate. But I can only do that if you're willing to kind of have a Q&A and a back and forth and contribute to that conversation. Does that sound fair? But it's really important to me that when I ask you questions, you know that I'm never going to ask you questions to catch you out. And if you get it wrong, I will never criticize, condemn, or complain. I will never judge that wrong answer. You don't have to be afraid of giving me the wrong answer. In fact, giving me the wrong answer is just as helpful because it gives me an insight into how much you've understood something and whether I need to approach it more or in a different way. I'm on your side, and it's so important to me that you understand that I'm here to help. And if you don't understand something, that's on me to get right. So please, please, please understand. I promise you never have to be afraid of getting the answer wrong. I want you to contribute to thought. I want you to answer questions with whatever you think is the most appropriate. I promise you, I'm on your side. We are a team, and I'm here to get inside your head, ask the right kind of questions, facilitate thought. All I ask you to do is contribute to those ideas and contribute to those thoughts. And I promise, if we can work together, we will speed up the development of your learning, and we'll get you to that end goal a lot faster and with a lot less stress. By having those conversations, you set the tone right from the off that we're a team, that I'm on your side, that I want to help and I want you to help me, and that they have nothing to fear in terms of getting it wrong, making errors, in terms of judgment and criticism on my part. I'm here for you. You're managing expectations that they'll be expected to be a part of the process, as they should be, that you're going to ask them questions and that their thoughts really matter, and that we improve together. Now, I will say this. You cannot just say the words without embodying them. You can say all you like to a pupil that there's no judgment here, I'm on your side, I want to help, but they will learn instantly if your body language and if your behaviors suggest the contrary. You have to genuinely embody a trainer who is on their side, who will not get outraged, frustrated, who will not criticize and condemn, who will not judge them. Saying the words is only the first rung on the ladder. You have to embody it. You have to show them all of that is true. Because the very first time they see otherwise, you will destroy that culture from the off. And it takes a lot more work to undo that than it does to just correctly embody everything you've said you would be from the off. Now, I will say this, if you've got pupils that you're partway through teaching, you haven't missed the boat on this first step. All you do is you introduce it at the very next lesson. Yes, it's better to do this at the start of their learning, but the next best time to introduce this kind of a conversation is the very next lesson. It will take you more time to introduce a new culture and undo the old culture the later you wait. So the very first opportunity, the very best opportunity is the first lesson. The second best opportunity to have this conversation is the next lesson. Step 2, ask questions, ask more questions, and keep asking questions. You've told them that you're going to be asking them a bunch of questions throughout their learning journey. Make sure you actually ask questions consistently, where appropriate, where suitable, that matters, but you have to actually ask questions. So this might involve a certain culture shift on our part as instructors. If we are habitually just telling pupils everything, then yes, that needs a change. So the first thing you need to do is, where appropriate, and that's a skill in itself, you need to consistently be asking them questions and then invite them to contribute answers. Even if those questions are very simple, easy questions, you do that right from the off and it creates the snowball effect. The culture is now being built. And if the questions start off quite straightforward and easy and they've got a good positive response from you, you're only enforcing the culture that you want thereafter. Sometimes pupils are, I don't know, pupils because of the culture we've created, because we don't ask them enough questions, we don't ask enough of the right questions, and we don't ask questions at the right time. So consistently give your pupil opportunities to contribute to thought by asking them questions. But not just any questions. I also need you to start thinking about asking effective questions. Ask clever questions. Think about the difference between why was that bad and what could we have done differently next time to improve that? Think about the difference between questions that require 1 or 2 word answers to questions that actually facilitate thought. So you need to start getting really, really good at asking questions. The better your question, the more appropriately timed your question, the more thought-provoking your question, the better the result you'll get from your pupil, the better response you'll get from your pupil. And yes, you're going to ask questions and they're still going to say, I don't know. The key here is to rephrase it, simplify it, and go again. If you ask a question and they say, I don't know, don't do that thing where you then just give them the answer. You try again. You go a second time. Important thing, don't just ask the same question 2, 3, 4 times. Reword the question in 2, 3, 4 different ways and help them get to the point. If you ask the pupil just once and the pupil says, I don't know, and then you default to the answer, the pupil will quickly learn, I don't really need to put that much effort in. He's going to give it to me. So ask a bunch of questions. Get better at asking more effective questions and think about the time that you're asking. And are your questions actually thought-provoking? And if they still say, I don't know, rephrase it, simplify it, go again. Let them know that saying I don't know doesn't end thinking. It starts it. By just giving them the answer after the first try, you are creating a culture of dependency where the pupil knows, well, I'll just say I don't know and he'll give me the answer. And it'll be easy. Step 3, resist the temptation to do all the work for them. Here's the hard truth. If you're always stepping in with the answer, you are building a culture of dependency. When they say, I don't know, resist the urge to fill in that silence and provide the answer. In fact, the first thing I would say is, use that silence, make them want to fill the silence. It's a great technique. I will very often ask a question and the pupil defaults to, I don't know, immediately, and I know that they haven't given any thought. So I will sit there in silence, looking at them, waiting for more, because I know that there has to be more, because they didn't even give that any thought. So I'll sit there and let that silence stew. they will feel as uncomfortable by that silence as you, if not more. And they will want that silence to go away. And so how do they make it go away? Well, they fill it. They fill it with words that are the result of thought. You are going to resist the urge to fill that silence and make them want to fill the silence with some kind of thought. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to take the question you asked, you're going to recycle it, and you're going to put it back to them. Let me give you an example. Not too long ago, I had a pupil who was really guilty as being a I don't know pupil. And we parked up on the left, and we all knew that the car wasn't straight and it was at a real angle. And so I asked her, are you happy with your position in relation to the curb? And she said, I don't know, instantly. She hadn't possibly have given any thought. I said, well, is the car straight? She said, I don't know. I said, well, okay, so where could you get the information to get a sense of your angle in relation to the curb? She said, I don't know. I said, well, which mirror could show you where the curb is in relation to where you are? And so the point is this. To be blunt, that pupil in that moment, for whatever reason, just did not want to contribute to thought. And I'll tell you this now, she was experienced enough to get the answer the very first time I asked. But for whatever reason, she didn't want to play the game. What I did after that was crucial. I didn't then just give her the answer. I didn't then just say, well, you're at an angle. Let's reposition. I recycled the question. The original question was, how do you feel about your position in relation to the curb? She said, I don't know. I said, well, maybe look forwards. How's your angle? Well, I don't know. Okay, so where could you get the information? Well, I don't know. Okay, so what mirror could show you your position in relation to the curb? And so I kept digging and kept digging and kept digging. And that conversation will go on and on and on until she gives me something. And I'm very comfortable creating that culture that says, I need you to contribute to thought. And every single time I recycle that question and I rephrase it and I just put a slightly different emphasis on it, I'm giving her brain another opportunity to fire. So at this stage in the video, I want you to ask yourself, has your culture as a driving instructor accidentally rewarded an I don't know pupil? Have you been unintentionally facilitating an environment that encourages I don't know responses? And step 4, have a frank conversation. Sometimes you've done all of the above and we're still getting very little from our pupils. So now is the time to have a very frank and honest conversation. You need to have the kind of conversations that highlight that if this individual wants to learn to drive, sometimes they don't, by the way, and that's an important thing to identify. But if they want to learn to drive, they're going to need to make independent decisions eventually. They're going to need to have to be able to think for themselves at some point, before they pass their test, not after. And that means thinking even when you're not sure about a situation. I'm not asking questions to catch you out. I'm asking to help develop the skill of thinking for yourself. So next time you have the temptation to respond with, I don't know, can you do me a favor? Just pause for a moment. Take 3 or 4 seconds and really think about the question I've asked you. And I promise you this, any answer you give me is better than I don't know. I can help you fix whatever answer you give me. I can help you understand whatever answer you give me, as good or inaccurate as that answer is. I cannot help I don't know. Any answer is better than no answer. And I promise you, give me the answer and we'll build from there as a team. But if you want to be able to drive on your own, you're going to need to be able to think critically and make decisions on your own. That's all I'm trying to produce now. And those conversations should realign the tone in the driving lessons. It should set clear expectations as to what we need from our pupils and hopefully what they need from us as well. Maybe even understand why they have that tendency to give that response and how we're going to lay the path going forwards. That conversation should change the attempt of effort from our pupils. And it should also invite the pupil to be open and honest with us about what they need more from us. So to summarize those 4 points, you need to build a culture that invites the pupil to contribute to thought from day one, or as early as you possibly can. You tell them, I'm going to ask you questions and I need you to contribute to thought. Then you actually ask questions, not just once. You ask questions over and over and over. Yes, you need to manage when you're asking those questions and the timing of those questions and the way you ask questions. And maybe you need to think about how to ask more effective questions. But you need to ask questions to give the pupil opportunities to contribute to thought. Stop just telling them every time. Resist the temptation to do the work and the thinking for them. If they say, I don't know, recycle the question, go again. If they say, I don't know, take that question, reword it, rephrase it, simplify it, throw it back at them. Use silence to make them uncomfortable and hopefully build a desire to fill that silence with some kind of thought. And finally, 4, have a frank conversation, lay out the expectations of what we need going forwards and why it needs to be that way, what they need from us, how we're going to go ahead, and make it clear that this is an essential part of their learning to drive journey. I'm going to sign this video off by saying that there's a lot of stuff in there already, but almost always, when I look at lessons that have an I don't know pupil, there is almost always something the instructor can be doing to shift that culture away from automatic I don't knows to some kind of thought. I hope that this video has helped you. If you've got any tips yourself on things that have helped you overcome an I don't know pupil, chuck it in the comments. If you've got any questions about any of the content within this video, put it in the comments. As always, this is a new channel where I'm going to be putting content out to help PDIs and ADIs alike improve their standard of teaching, improve their opportunities to pass a Part 3 or a standards check test, and ultimately feel more accomplished as driving instructors. Please feel free to like, comment, share this video with other people, and hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel and allow me to help you and others more often. I will put a couple of links in the description that will help you access some of our membership exclusive content, more content like this. A lot of people will watch this video and think, well, how do I ask better questions? I'm going to post a link to access our content on how to ask better questions, more effective questions, questions that produce thought, because that is a course in and of itself. And I will also post some general links to access any of the content that we are already helping thousands of driving instructors with. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very, very soon.